Hi, I'm Satya Chakravarti, Professor of Aerospace Engineering at IIT Madras. I'm a founder of the ePlane company that is making electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft for taxi applications. I've been a professor at IIT Madras for nearly about 25 years. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I got this idea that we need to be actually doing electric planes. And I found that the way to get a good market fit for the product is to make a electric VTOL, and then there would be a taxi application. So that's the reason why uh, we founded this company. The ePlane company essentially is into making electric air taxis. This is essentially to disrupt city commute. So to go from a place to place by air instead of by on the road. And of course, it has other applications in medical deliveries or air ambulances, and maybe like defense and such things. But the primary aim is to actually look at taxis. The drones is actually a perfect timing, because I think the regulations have eased in the last couple of years, and we are able to actually make drones better than other people, most of the other people, because we are actually plane makers, and for us making drones is actually part of that. So we can actually make very good drones that way. So that timing is extremely perfect. From a passenger air taxi perspective, there is significant amount of technological development that's happening on the electric cars, and the ground electric transportation, for example, right? So batteries are getting better, charging infrastructure is happening. All of these things are something that we can actually ride the wave on. So this is about the right time for doing it. Well, our industry did not exist about a decade ago. Right? It's a completely new industry. So we are actually kind of spawning a new industry, which would sit between automobiles on the ground, and the actual planes that we know for the last several decades in the air. So this is, of course, this is actually supposed to be a bit closer to automobiles in terms of access, but closer to airplanes in terms of air safety requirements and so on. So it actually is something that straddles between two industries, and we are actually creating something completely new. We need to be focusing on technologies that are modular, where we can actually deploy them without much of an infrastructure required, that requires the government to step in and then lay roads or metros or whatever it is. So without having the government to have to establish infrastructure, how can we deploy technology that can be absorbed by people? That can actually scale much faster when compared to if you have to wait for infrastructure to be developed. So we want to challenge the notion that you need to have infrastructure for a country's development, and we would like to look at those technologies that do not require that kind of infrastructure, and in fact um, does the opposite, which is to be able to decentralize a lot of the technologies that are being used when compared to what infrastructure actually does. Entrepreneurship is actually the one that creates the impact that's required. I've actually done a lot of research in my previous avatar, as so to speak, as a professor, but unless we actually see the research seeing the light of day in terms of applications, we don't really get to see the impact. So societal impact is actually the greatest with entrepreneurship. So aerospace is actually my field, and electric planes is actually the new thing, the new kid on the block, and it has the potential to disrupt aviation significantly because it can bring down the cost of aviation. And we believe that starting with eVTOLs today, it can then transform to having conventional aircraft also becoming electric. So this is actually the starting point for a revolution to happen. My opinion is that aerospace is actually not the most customer friendly or user friendly product development process at all. And we are trying to actually change that. We are basically trying to look at how we can make our products as accessible to customers as possible. We have actually been developing small scale aircraft which are kind of like autonomous cargo drones, and we are just entering the market with those. And it's been a lot of pitfalls to get there, and we are just about discovering uh, the customer segments that are meant for that. We have actually made like, if you want to call it a drone, we have made like one of the largest drones in the world, and that can carry like very high payload and fly fairly long distances, that we want to commercialize. A product like that doesn't exist in the market. So this is actually on a stepping stone for our passenger air taxi that we are building. So this also gives us a confidence in the technology space, as well as we want to go to market with a completely new product. Our future milestones will actually be commercializing our cargo autonomous drones, as well as making prototypes of the passenger drones and put it through certification for them to be commercialized. Yes, I think this has been a very important part of what our journey has been. Aerospace actually requires a lot of experience, so we had a initial philosophy of actually targeting fairly experienced people who have designed planes and different aspects of it, including manufacturing of actual planes and all that stuff. So we have been very fortunate to get those kinds of people. Over time, our hiring philosophy has also changed a bit. Now that we have these seniors with experience, we are able to get more freshers who could probably intern with us, learn the ropes from these seniors, and then join us after a brief internship.